Did you know that you could buy a business for sometimes 1 to 3 times earnings? That's just absolutely incredible. So that means a business that's producing $1 million in cash flow per year can be purchased for $1 to $3 million. And often you only need to put maybe 15% down on it. So that means for 150 to 450,000, you could have a business that's producing $1 to $3 million in cash per year. Pretty incredible, right? Absolutely incredible. People are doing it, and we're actually seeing this is an incredible trend of this. We've talked about the silver tsunami, right? The silver hair tsunami, where people are getting older, and it's just happening regularly. It says this study came out by its Exit Planning Institute, found that 70% of business owners 50 or older were planning to exit their business in the next 10 years. I would say it probably even higher than that. But and then many of these, another study I saw somewhere said that 80% of these will never be sold. Like a lot of these smaller businesses, people are not really actually going to be able to sell. And so there's opportunity there. And especially if you're somebody who's in the smaller space, there's a lot of big private equity. If a business makes $10 million a year or more, or $3 million a year or more, 5 million, then that's kind of a big cutoff that a lot of bigger businesses and private equity groups will go after. But when it's smaller, it's harder to find buyers for those businesses. So we're going to jump in and talk about how to buy a business, if you should do it, if you have to be active, passive, all that stuff. We're going to jump in. I'm going to give my best tips here in 3 easy steps and give a quote at the end, and also give you my the type of business that I would like to own. So stick around at the end. Let's jump in. All right, so welcome. My name is Bronson Hill. I'm CEO of Bronson Equity. We help people get predictable passive income through investing in things like real estate and other alternative assets, businesses. We've done ATMs, car washes, all types of things. This is just educational. We're not pitching any investment here, or just get your own investment advice. So first thing I want to say is that it really is an entrepreneurial journey when you're looking at buying a business. So if you own a business, you'll kind of understand this as well. If you don't, it's going to be a big opportunity to learn about how businesses really work. So in 2024, just understanding what the current acquisition climate is. We have all these aging people. We have not quite as much money as we have as before. There was just a lot of money sloshing around, people being willing to spend. So there are opportunities there. And there are factors that affect this, right? So when you look at businesses, this is one question that I've asked myself. What's the best way to buy a business? What's the best way you can find out? Well, there's websites like bizbuysell.com, bizbuysell, B-I-Z, buysell.com. And they offer, it's a great way to just kind of learn what's out there, what things are selling for, that kind of thing. There are business brokers, very similar to real estate brokers, that are selling and marketing these types of deals. But a great source to get it really is to work with financial professionals, your CPA, legal professionals, a lot of people that are in that space where they're looking to sell. If you network or go to networking events, you can find people that have a business that are kind of looking for that. If you're in your community, sometimes you'll be able to identify or discover, maybe meet an owner, go into the cleaners or whatever group, and you kind of ask around and see. A friend of mine who actually did an interview with Joe Wexler. You'll see that interview. If it's not posted yet, it'll be up shortly. It's basically how to buy a business, right? And this guy's bought multiple businesses. And what he did is he found the specific type of business he wanted. So he spent a 6-month process discovering what type of business he wanted, what area he wanted to be in. He ended up settling on the home care business of a certain size. He sent out 24, I think it was something like 24 specific letters. There were some personalized things in there, and he wrote a handwritten note in each one. And he ended up getting 6 or 7 responses or calls on it. And then he made a couple offers and he closed on one, right? So it does work, it does happen, and he found a business that fits his parameters, that he's able to be more of a passive owner in, and not actually having to run. Navigating the purchasing process, this takes some work, right? So it's not just you just go in and all of a sudden there's this business and you just buy it. There's a fair amount of diligence that goes into it. In a good scenario, it takes 3 months. Usually it takes around 3 to 6 months. So it takes some time, and this costs money. There's something called a quality of earnings, which can cost you thousands of dollars. That basically gets into all of their financial statements. Do they say, is it actually how they say? Does the company make as much as what they say they're making? Or is the owner taking all these expenses, including that in kind of some of the financials as well? Steps to really do it is you have to work with a seller, find somebody who's interested. You get it under an LOI or a letter of intent. It's a non-binding agreement. Typically, there's some sort of exclusivity clause there that, hey, we're not going to market this to other people because you, as a potential buyer, are spending money and time to look into different aspects of it, interviewing people in the business, around the business, looking at the financials, looking at all of the different things that go into that business. And then you're also looking at, the legal complications, if there's any sort of legal liabilities, things like that. And it does take time. It's work, right? It's work to do that, a lot of work. But when you're done, you have this hopefully business that is not something that you have to be in the business, right? You're working on the business, or you're just removed from the business and you've got people that are running the business for you, which is great. So there are private equity funds that do this. There are BlackRock, there's smaller funds. BlackRock is obviously one of the largest, and they go out and they go after different things. And I've met some guys that do private equity there, and it's like they're just in this all the time. But some of the smaller deals are sometimes some of the better deals that they get. And again, this kind of plays in with that strategy, if you're really willing to go after it, of the private equity roll-up strategy, where what you do is you come in, you buy, home care or cleaners or whatever, and you buy, not just one of them, you try to buy 10 or 20 of them, you package them together and you can sell them off for a much higher multiple. So maybe you've paid 3 or 4 or 5 times earnings, and you're able to sell them later with all this packaged together for 10 or 15 or 20 times earnings, right? And that's the strategy we've done with car washes, right? We've done that strategy with car washes. It's been very effective so far. So the third thing is trends and technology shaping acquisitions. So tech, you're typically going to pay more for a tech business. We talked about just some technological things. If you can get on Biz Buy Sell, there are other websites like that that will allow you to see kind of what's out there. There's also a lot of networking events you can do, but the type of business is going to be really important to pay attention to. What you're buying. If you're buying a simple business like a pet care business or a cleaning business, those typically trade 1 to 5 times earnings. And the other businesses that are more complex, like software as a service or known as SaaS or tech businesses, could go for 10, 20 times earnings or higher, right? Depending on what the business is, the growth potential. And it's all based on, how much this, is perceived that this business will grow and how much more in the future. So in the question my friend Joe talks about as well is when you look at coming in to buy a business, you look at your own skill set and say, where can I add value, right? So my background is sales. So if there's an area, companies having trouble getting themselves out there, really needs help with selling and kind of getting more, people to hear about their product, service, whatever, that's an area I can come in and really add more to that conversation. So I think those are all good things to consider. There's a couple of great books that are out there. I want to recommend these. Hopefully we'll stick the links in this comment below so you can see it. But there's Buy, Then Build. So the book is called Buy, Then Build by Walker Deibel. And there's another one called The Private Equity Playbook by Adam Coffey. The Buy, Then Build is a great book to start with, kind of gives you a process of how it works to buy businesses. And you'll also hear in the future about conferences coming out that are basically private equity conferences about how to kind of get involved with this. So I want to share this quote with you. A business is simply an idea to make other people's lives better, right? So that's kind of a great thing to approach. And we didn't really get into this, but my favorite business to buy, or how I've kind of gotten to this, is I want to buy a business that I don't want to have to be in the business, right? So if I'm going to buy the business, I don't want to buy a business. So it's typically a sweet spot, right? At least $1 million in earnings, typically not more than $3 million in earnings, because that's really targeted by a lot of private equity groups. And so there's that sweet spot there, right? Where I can come in, I can do the work to buy the business, and then after I bought it, I can kind of be more passive, and that's a way I love. Or I'd find a partner that does a fund and get involved in something like that where you can get great returns with. So I'm going to share this video with you. This is honestly will help with this as well, about networking, how to get more out of your networking, right? You may go to events, or maybe you don't go to events. You don't know quite what to do or what to say there. I go to a lot of events, and I've found a way to really get a lot of value out of events and also give a lot of value. And this video here, this is going to talk to you about how to get the most out of your networking and how to even choose what events to go to. If you haven't joined our investment club, we're doing deals in the business space. We're doing them in real estate. We're doing different types of things that really, the goals that you have, whether it's cash flow or appreciation or tax reduction, we've got deals that kind of do all that stuff. So if you haven't joined our investment club, you're not hearing about it, click the link below, go to bronsonequity.com. So we'll start a relationship with you, and we'll set up a call to connect with you and find out what your goals are and get you on our list and let you know about our deals. So thanks for taking the time to educate yourself. It's truly an honor, and we look forward to catching you on the next video.